It's 7:12 on a Tuesday morning and you're behind the counter at Runyon's Hardware, ringing up a gallon of primer for a guy who wants to talk about the weather more than you do. Your watch, a $9 digital thing with a cracked band you keep meaning to replace, says 6 hours left on shift. Outside, Colton pulls into the lot on a motorcycle he's had for 4 months, the kind that turns heads even in a hardware store parking lot at 7 in the morning. He works 2 registers down from you. He waves. You wave back. Colton's bike payment is $340 a month. Your brokerage account grew by $2,340 last month. Your paycheck, after taxes, was $1,780. Nobody at Runyon's knows that, including, until fairly recently, you. Here's the strange part. 2 years ago, you would have wanted the bike. You'd have done the math on it more than once, probably on a slow Tuesday, exactly like this one, usually while ringing up someone else's paint order. What's changed isn't your income. It's that somewhere along the way, you stopped needing the bike to mean anything. This isn't a story about discipline. It's a story about what happens when the chasing itself just stops. It starts 4 years earlier in a studio apartment above a dry cleaner that made everything smell faintly of steam. Even your towels. You're 23. Payday is Thursday. The app shows $1,610. Rent is $720. The Fusion, used dented rear bumper, 96,000 miles, has a payment of $210. After everything, you're left with about $260 to get through 9 days. Your sister Marisol texts that weekend asking if you want to split a case of the good coffee, the $14 bag instead of the $6 one. You say maybe next time. You don't tell her it's about the $8 one. Ruth works the service desk. She's been at Runyon's for 22 years, wears the same green fleece vest through every season, and has never once complained about it. One slow afternoon, restocking key blanks, she watches you scroll a truck listing on your phone during break, and says, without much ceremony, the chase doesn't end. You just stop being invited to run it. Then she goes back to her key machine like she hasn't said anything at all. You don't clock it as advice. It doesn't sound like advice. It sounds like something a woman says while cutting a house key. That Friday, on a whim you can't fully explain, you open a brokerage account during lunch, sitting in your car in the employee lot, because you don't want anyone walking past the break room window to see the tab open. You put in $40, money that was supposed to go toward new work shoes you keep putting off. That's the whole event. No signal, no plan. Just $40 into an index fund, with a name you can barely pronounce. 2 years pass the way most years do, without a single day that feels like a turning point. You get a raise to $19.40 an hour. You bump the transfer to $75 a week before the money ever lands anywhere you can see it. Colton, around the same time, finances a fishing boat he uses 4 times that summer. He's not reckless. He works hard. He likes the water. You don't judge him for it. You just notice, quietly, that you measure the year differently than he does. By 25, the account holds $6,800. Nobody congratulates you. There's nothing to announce. The Fusion ticks past 120,000 miles. The only thing different is a number in an app you check less often than you'd expect, mostly because checking it doesn't change it either way. At 27, the account crosses $31,000 and something shifts in how you think about the store. The shifts, the whole arrangement. Not because $31,000 changes your life, because you notice for the first time that the number grew by more some months than your actual paycheck did. You do the math twice in the parking lot, engine running, heater on. Your contributions that quarter, $975. The account's growth from the market alone, $1,410. You don't tell anyone. There's no one at Runyon's who'd know what to do with that sentence. And honestly, you're not sure you'd know how to say it out loud yet either. At 28, the market drops 14% over 5 weeks on inflation news you only half understand. Your $58,000 becomes $49,900, then $46,200, before you stop opening the app first thing every morning. Colton asks if you're getting wrecked out there, half joking, the way people ask about things they've heard of, but don't watch closely. You say you're fine, your stomach disagrees with you slightly. You think about Ruth at the key machine. You don't sell. You keep the $75 transfer running the entire way down, buying shares at prices lower than they'd been in 2 years, which feels like setting money on fire and only makes sense from a distance. Months later, when the account isn't just back to $58,000, it's at $67,000. That same year, a shift lead position opens up. More money, $4,200 a year, but also closing shifts, weekend rotations, and a commute to the flagship store 35 minutes out. 3 years earlier, you'd have said yes before Greg finished the sentence. Instead, you sit with the offer for 6 days, run the numbers on what your account alone could cover if you needed it to, and realize it's not close to enough yet, but it's closer than you expected. You turn it down, not because the money doesn't matter, because the weekends would cost you something the raise couldn't buy back. At 30, on your usual Sunday 5-minute check, coffee, one screen, you notice the account grew by $3,880 that quarter. Your take-home pay for the same 3 months, $11,600. Not close, but the gap is smaller than it's ever been, and for the first time it's closing from the other direction. Nothing about your life looks different. You're still in the green Polo. You're still driving the Fusion, which now has a check engine light you've stopped taking personally. But some quiet arithmetic underneath it all has started running on its own, without asking you for anything. That winter, your water heater dies. $1,380 to replace cash same day. 2 years earlier, that number would have meant a payment plan and a bad week. Now it means one transfer and a mildly annoyed call to a plumber about scheduling. The emergency stops feeling like an emergency. It starts feeling like an inconvenience with a receipt. Colton, meanwhile, upgrades the motorcycle that spring and finances a trailer to haul the boat. He's not lying when he says business at his side gig is good. It is. But so is the size of what he owes against it. At a cookout, he mentions, almost like a joke, that a slow month nearly meant missing the bike payment. He laughs when he says it. You don't laugh. You don't feel superior either. It's closer to recognition, two people who look about the same on paper, standing on completely different ground, and nobody at the cookout could tell which one of you is which. At 32, your net worth crosses $210,000, and you notice you've quietly stopped bringing up money at all. Not hiding it, there's just no version of the conversation anymore that doesn't feel a little strange in one direction or another. Marisol calls that fall about a car repair she can't cover, $640 for an alternator. You send it before she finishes explaining. You don't think about it again. She thanks you like it cost you something. It didn't, not really, and the gap between what she assumes it cost you and what it actually cost you is the clearest evidence yet of how far the last 9 quiet years have carried you. There's a cost to this nobody put a number on for you. Being underestimated used to feel like an advantage. Nobody at Runyon's asking questions, nobody watching what you do with a paycheck. At some point, it started feeling a little lonely too, being financially unreadable to almost everyone who's known you the whole time. Your girlfriend Naomi asked that year, half joking, why you still drive the Fusion now that she knows the actual number. You tell her it stopped being about the car a long time ago. It turned into something closer to proof, that you get to decide what your life looks like instead of your balance, or anyone else's opinion of it, deciding for you. At 34, Ruth retires 3 days before her birthday, and Runyon's throws her the kind of small, low-key party stores throw. A sheet cake, a card everyone signs, someone's phone playing music nobody chose. On her way out, a box of key blanks and a small potted plant balanced on one hip. She stops by the register. Still driving that same car? She asks. You say you are. She nods like that answers a question she's been quietly asking for years, and doesn't say anything else about it. She doesn't need to. You think, for the first time in a long while, about the sentence she said at the key machine 6 years earlier. The chase doesn't end, you just stop being invited to run it. You understand now she wasn't talking about the motorcycle listing on your phone that afternoon. She was telling you, in the only way a woman at a service desk gets to tell a 24-year-old anything, that the version of this life that actually holds is the one where nobody's watching, including, most days, you. It's 7:12 on a Tuesday morning again, a different Tuesday, 5 years further into the story, and you're behind the same counter at Runyon's, ringing up a gallon of primer for a different guy who also wants to talk about the weather. Your watch is new now, not expensive, just not cracked, though you kept the old one in a drawer for reasons you've never fully explained to Naomi. Outside, a kid who reminds you of Colton at 24 pulls in on a motorcycle, waves at someone across the lot. Your brokerage app is open under the counter, $412,000. You look at it the way you look at the weather. You close the app, you finish the transaction. Nobody buying primer at 7:12 on a Tuesday would guess any of it, and that's not an accident anymore. It used to be. That's the whole story underneath this one. You didn't stop wanting things. You just stopped needing the wanting to be visible to anyone but you. The chase didn't end because you won it. It ended because somewhere around $75 a week for a long time, you stopped being invited to run it. And you noticed eventually that you didn't want back in. If this story made you think differently about the difference between chasing money and quietly building it, hit like and subscribe for more stories like this one. And I'm curious, is there something you're still chasing right now that you'd actually be relieved to stop running after? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.